Hello, friends. I want to talk to you a little bit today about Stoney Places. You know, in Matthew, the 13th chapter, Jesus told the parable of the sower. And one of the comments that he made is he talked about as this sower went out, as this farmer went out sowing his seeds, he said some seeds fell by the wayside and the birds came and ate them up. But then he said, but some fell upon stony places where they had not much earth. And forthwith they sprung up because they had no deepness of earth. But when the sun was up, they were scorched. And because they had no root, they withered away. What's that all about? What are the stony places in reference to? Well, I'd just like to point out that he said that the person actually received that word with joy, you know, and something began to grow as a result of it. But because there was no real depth, whenever the sun came out and began to beat down on it, it didn't have enough root, and so it just withered away. Well, I just want to encourage you about something. There are many great and precious promises that God has made to us in the Scripture. And it's real easy when we see one of those scriptures that contain a promise that relates to something that we really need to receive that promise with joy. And you know, and when we do, all of a sudden there is an expectation that springs up that wasn't there before. And it's starting to grow and starting to develop. But see, here's something we need to understand. All of the promises of God that we receive are oftentimes challenged by the enemy. They don't automatically come to pass. And so a lot of, any more than when you plant a seed into the ground, it automatically produces a full grown harvest the next day. And so what is that stony ground that it's talking about? Well, actually it's saying, this is the best way I know how to put it, when we don't really have any depth of insight, when we just see a scripture and just grab onto it with excitement and joy, then what'll happen is when we start experiencing all these circumstances that are contrary to that promise, then that hope that we have, that expectation, our faith that's based on that promise gets scorched and withered away. So I just want to encourage you. Anything that you're trying to receive from God, any promise that you're trying to receive from God, don't just have a shallow understanding of it. Get a real depth of understanding. Look up more than one scripture about that and ponder that and think about that. And in fact, listen to the advice of others who have also received what it is that you're after. Get some real depth of insight as to what God's really is. And then you won't be shocked and you won't be surprised when you find yourself encountering circumstances that are contrary to that promise. And then you won't give up. You'll hang in there and that promise will come to pass. Let's don't be stony ground. It said other fell into good ground and brought forth fruit. Some 100-fold, some 60-fold, and some 30-fold. Who hath ears to hear? Let him hear. Don't let the promises of God get stolen away from you. Don't be stony ground. Don't just have a shallow insight or understanding that's based on a very casual exposure to a promise. But really meditate on those things day after day, and you'll see it come to pass. God bless you.